This is the Apple Watch. Getting started with it is really easy, but integrating it as part of your daily routine is actually proving to be quite tricky. In this video, we'll cover 5 tips to take you from, oh my god, this Apple Watch is useless, to, yeah, this is pretty useful and I know how to use it now. Your Apple Watch is not the same as your iPhone. It doesn't make sense to have certain apps on your Apple Watch. So I'd recommend against transferring all the apps from your iPhone to your watch. Instead, curate a list of the apps that you think you'll absolutely need. Remember, you can always install apps in the future if you feel like you need it later on, but keep in mind that the less apps you have on your watch, the less cluttered the watch face is, and the easier it is to multitask as well. Next up, let's talk notifications. The subtle nudge from the Apple Watch is the main way it will interact with you throughout the day, so it's well worth thinking about setting strong boundaries over this kind of relationship. You can start by turning off most third-party alerts and notifications because it can get pretty overwhelming very quickly. Instead, limit it to a few really important things that you feel like you absolutely will need to know when it comes up on your watch. Because the alternative is your watch will go off all the time, it'll get really annoying, and you're gonna get so frustrated at it and just leave it on the side of the bed. You won't actually use it. So I think notifications is like one of the big hurdles which holds people back from using their watch every single day. If you think you'll have FOMO about missing a notification on your watch because you've turned it off, don't worry, because that notification still goes to your iPhone and you can pick it up at a later time. Another thing when it comes to notifications is that I religiously keep my Apple Watch on silent mode. That means it doesn't make a sound in public. Instead, it just subtly nudges me on the wrist. I prefer this because I don't like to attract the attention of everybody in the room when something goes off on my watch, especially if it's like 7 notifications in a row. It's worth checking that out. However, if you're quite big on digital well-being and you don't want your watch to nudge you throughout the day at all, you don't want it to make a sound and you don't want it to make haptics, you have the option to turn off haptics. The benefit of this is that you can go throughout your day doing your things, and then you can check your watch when you're ready to check your watch, instead of when the world says you're ready to check the notifications. For most people, they will prefer to use the focus mode because they'll prefer to focus for a short period of time and turn off the notifications on those. The extreme nuclear option is to turn off haptics and sound altogether. And I'm not gonna lie, I have strongly considered it in the past, but I haven't quite gone there yet. Just something to keep in mind. So that brings us to the third section on organizing your dock. Finding your apps should be seamless, and if it's not, then it's a problem. By default, the Apple Watch will come with something called a honeycomb view for the app layout. That's where it has all the apps in a massive grid, and you use a digital crown to zoom in and out to find the apps. But you kind of got to remember where things are, because when you zoom out, they're pretty hard to see. The alternative to this is that you can go into your Apple Watch settings and go to app layout and then change it from honeycomb view to a list view. With the list view, it arranges your app in alphabetical order and you just scroll up and down with the digital crown and you find the app you need in like half the time versus the honeycomb grid. That brings us on to the fourth section, which is watch faces. The watch face is the starting point for any interaction you have with the watch that hasn't come from a notification. If you're watching this video, you probably lean more towards I have an Apple Watch to be productive versus I have an Apple Watch because it's aesthetic. If you fall into the first camp, you're gonna love complications. Complications are small slices of information that live on the home screen, and they give you shortcuts to certain apps or slices of information on things like the dates, the temperature, the activity rings, or the stock market price, etc, etc, etc. For instance, on this watch face, I have a complication for the Drafts app, which when I press it, it takes me to the note-taking app on my Apple Watch, and I can immediately start dictating into the Apple Watch and press done. That particular complication is perfect when I'm out and about and I just need to do something really quickly, really conveniently, get an idea down out of my head. I managed to do all of that just from a click on the home screen, just from a click on the watch face. The point is, you wanna have to think about what complications you need or you might use and put them on your watch face. Just whack it in there because it's gonna help you get that shortcut to getting to the thing you wanna do much faster. However, like with all things, there's a balance. And I think having too many complications on a watch face can be a bit paralyzing. You've got all kinds of different information being thrown at you. You can browse through all the available complications in the Apple Watch app on the iPhone. I would take some time to go through that and have a look at the kind of information you want to see that's on there and make your perfect watch face from it. My fifth and final point about how to integrate the Apple Watch as part of your everyday life is about making it comfortable. Make it as comfortable as possible to use. When I was making this video, I was specifically thinking of people who bought the Apple Watch for the first time, tried it for a while, lost a bit of interest, and it started gathering dust on a bedside table. And that was me. I was like that person with the Apple Watch Series 3, and I couldn't figure out why I tried it and lost interest so quickly, because the Apple Watch is pretty useful. There's loads of cool things I can do on it. It wasn't until a few years later when I tried the Apple Watch Series 5 that I realized what the problem was. I blindly purchased the biggest Apple Watch available for my wrist. I just thought a bigger screen is better, so let me go for that. As it turns out, On a day-to-day basis, it was pretty uncomfortable and difficult to use the bigger screen size. It would begin to catch on my cuffs, or it felt quite bulky. Over time, slowly but surely, I started reaching for it less and less. A lot of you have probably bought your Apple Watch already, and you're not gonna go through the effort of downgrading to a smaller size, downgrading. So there's another thing to consider here, which is the Apple Watch strap. I chose my Apple Watch strap because it looked so beautiful. It was really aesthetically pleasing, but I didn't consider how it would feel on my wrist. And when I was wearing this Apple Watch every single day, I began to realize that it just didn't feel that comfortable, and I would stop wearing it because it didn't feel so comfortable. Now I use a Velcro Apple Watch strap, a Nike Sport Loop, because it gives me a perfect fit every time. It's very lightweight and it's very breathable. If you want to learn about which size Apple Watch is right for your wrist, I'll link a video up above. And if you want to learn more about the strap I was just talking about, the Nike Sport Loop, and why I bought it twice, I'll link a video up to that as well.